Burton Silverman was born in Brooklyn, New York, 1928 to Anne and Morris Silverman. The second of three boys, Burton's love for art started in reading children's books illustrated by N.C. Wyeth. The world Wyeth created captured Burton's attention at a young age. This sparked an interest in drawing, and at the age of 9 he received his first set of oil paints as a gift from his aunt. At the 1939 World Fair in New York, when Burton was 11, he was blown away by the art exhibition called 500 Years of Great Painting, which had been assembled from the great European and American collections. That exhibit made a huge impact on Burton, and he believed that art was now his career choice. Burton's parents knew how difficult it was to raise a family during the Depression, and while they wanted to support Burton's artistic talent, they were concerned with his proper training. They felt formal instruction was important and saw that he got into New York's High School of Music and Art, and they supported him attending the Art Students League of New York. Burton later attended Columbia University and earned his Bachelor of Arts in Art History. Following graduation, he shared an art studio with his lifelong friend Harvey Dinnerstein. With his keen artistic vision, Burton captured the bustling post-war growth of New York by doing a series of paintings of construction workers, focusing on the everyday men who were building the iconic skyline of New York City. In 1951, history once again shaped Burton's life and worldview. Burton was drafted into a special unit of the Army during the Korean War, where he worked in a PR unit serving as an artist to the Pentagon until 1953. Upon discharge in 1953, Burton went back to painting in New York, where he captured the flavor of the city through large-scale portraits.
I'm a people watcher, I'm a voyeur if you want. And for example, I pass by cafes and restaurants and I see people eating and suddenly they're eating not by themselves in a quiet place, they're in a public space. And they're not quite visually alone, the reflection of the city is imposed on them. So all of those things become both public and private simultaneously. And I love the image. I love the idea that we're fusing people in the culture and the world they live in.
In 1956, as civil unrest grew in our country, Burton and his friend Harvey traveled to Montgomery, Alabama, where they documented the historic Montgomery bus boycott. During those 10 days in Alabama, Burton and Harvey sketched at a furious pace and made 95 drawings that spoke to the change that was afoot. The now famous collection of drawings captured the mood and tenor of the events of the day so vividly that their work has become part of the historical record, with their drawings appearing in the books The Artist as Reporter and The Protest in Montgomery. The prestigious Davis Gallery picked up these drawings for their collection, and most importantly, the influence of these works was felt farther and wider among the public. Journalists took notice and used the Montgomery bus boycott art to convey what words alone could not. Burton's and Harvey's drawings inexorably linked faces and feelings to these historic events, and they were an integral part of the civil rights movement. In 1966, Esquire magazine published one of Silverman's iconic Montgomery drawings as part of an article that documented the anniversary of the Montgomery bus strike, commemorating its role in the civil rights movement.
If you look at those drawings, they are among the most powerful historical drawings you will find in any archive, anywhere, in any great museum, in any small museum. These pictures portray an extraordinary moment in history.
Throughout his life, Burton's art has continued to capture protests and the strong emotions of our passionate society.
Within the work of Burt Silverman, I see a fascinating balance between sight and insight. The notion of sight that he has, as so many realists and naturalists before him have had, this ability to see the world in a very exacting way, that he looks unflinchingly at daily life around him, at real people, and records that. You could say as a camera does, but in fact that's not fair because we also have the added layer of insight. We have here a whole group of pictures, for example, the Montgomery pictures or the Philadelphia pictures, which are about people in history, real people, some grand, some completely ordinary, who are involved in some dramatic moment. Some story is being told, but through their faces and body language, their poses, we get insights into an episode in American history.
In 1968, Burton met his wife, Claire, and in 1972, they had their first child, Robert, followed by a daughter, Karen, in 1975. His beloved family was often the subject of his work. Burton, also now a proud grandfather of Lulu and Rocky. In 1971, Burton painted the iconic Aqualung cover for the band Jethro Tull. His artwork on the cover has arguably been one of the most memorable album covers in all of rock and roll. His illustration career included 125 portrait drawings for New Yorker magazine, and his work as an illustrator has been honored by the Society of Illustrators Museum, along with other iconic greats like Norman Rockwell, Howard Pyle, and numerous others in the rich tradition of American illustration. He has had 34 solo shows, including retrospective exhibitions at the Butler Institute of American Art in Ohio, the Brigham Young Museum of Art in Utah, the Hofstra University Museum in New York, and the Sherwin Miller Museum of Jewish Art in Oklahoma. His paintings are represented in numerous public collections, and he's won major awards from the National Academy Museum, the Portrait Society of America, and the American Watercolor Society. Burton was elected to the Illustrators Hall of Fame and has also received an honorary doctorate from the Academy of Art University in San Francisco. Burton Silverman is a legend among artists. Please join us in celebrating the life and influence of this American icon. Today, we present our highest honor, the Fine Art Connoisseur Lifetime Achievement Award to Burton Silverman, for a lifetime of impactful art that has captured the emotion and the history of the world in which we live.